Yo people, welcome back to On Track GP. Thank you for joining us very bright early in the morning in the UK for this Japan Grand Prix. I'm joined by Koilan in this building. Bro, how are you doing? It's early.
Good morning, Matisse, or maybe we should say konnichiwa.
Yes, we should indeed.
It's an early morning, but hopefully for a good cause.
Yeah, well, listen, this race better be something special because at least it's starting on time. You guys in the comments will agree. This starting on time is pivotal. It's actually a clear day. There's no risk. There's no chance of any rain, it seems. So it looks like we're going to be getting off to a good start. We've got some wasabi as well on the table. And we will be doing this as a challenge, I guess, to keep you guys entertained along with the race, just in case it doesn't deliver to the level. We'll be here to deliver. If we get the pit stops, we were deliberating over this a bit. If we get the pit stops 0.5 seconds or more outside of what it actually is when we commit to predicting, then we have to have one of the pieces of wasabi. I have no idea how bad it's going to be. I've just got it. We just got it there, and I'm just going to go for it when the time comes. So I'm looking forward to it. Let's go through this grid before we talk about how this race could potentially go. Verstappen obviously qualifying in first from yesterday, followed by Oscar Piastri. See, McLaren is being repped heavily today. You're also wearing McLaren. Yep. This was not planned, by the way. We just ended up doing this. Lando Norris, followed by Leclerc, Perez, Sainz, Hamilton, Russell, Tsunoda, Alonso, Liam Lawson, Gasly, Albon, Ocon, Magnussen, Bottas, Stroll, Hulkenberg and Zhu. And of course, Sargent starting from the pit lane after the crash in qualifying. Talk to me more about Sargent, because you were saying before we started that he's got a little trick up his sleeve today.
Yeah, unfortunately it's a 10-second penalty before he even starts, for essentially because Williams have built him a brand new car. It counts as technically a third car. Yeah. And only meant to use two. So a 10-second penalty for him in a pit lane start, which isn't what you want to start in this race, but let's see.
Is he allowed to take that 10-second penalty in the pit lane?
Yes, it'll be under his first pit stop.
Okay, so he has to go out and then come back in his first pit stop, then do it, and then okay.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to this. I'm thinking Verstappen obviously is going to clear off down the road. We're back to normality, it seems. Any chance of Perez doing similar in terms of rising through the ranks? In terms of you expect the pace to be there with Red Bull, but do you feel like we've got a battle behind Verstappen today, or is Perez going to be almost comfortable in getting past those cars?
Yeah, I think so. I think Leclerc should be easy enough for him. The only problem he's going to have is the McLarens, because the race pace is very good. But yeah, I think it shouldn't be a problem. We've seen this happen in Monza a few weeks ago with Perez, and he managed to get both Ferraris and move into second place towards the end. So yeah, you'd be thinking that he's going to go that way.
100%. I'm also looking forward to seeing, like I said, what McLaren can do as well in terms of Oscar and Lando. We actually predicted a double podium finish, which was very bold of us to not move any of them there. Oscar's first time on this track. You thinking from your perspective, having seen over the years, how this race can be, any kind of worries for Oscar on a track like this in terms of what he's coming up against, or at this point in the season where we've seen so much talent from him and so much ability, he should be fine out there? Yeah,
no, it's funny you said that now through the years, because just before we went on air, I watched the highlights from the 2019 race. Yeah. And the one thing I took away, which I actually didn't remember, was it was Bottas that won it, but he won it from third on the grid because he got such a good start. The problem Piastri's going to have now is because he's on what they call the dirty side of the grid, where the grip isn't, because of all the cars on the racing line. So he's going to have to contend with that off the line. Doesn't always be a problem, but it is a slight disadvantage.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for that as well. Lando Norris in third. I mean, McLaren are just having this kind of season towards the back end where I really feel like they've got the perfect lineup. I feel like their strongest position to not only challenge today, next race, the race after, but also next season. When are these two contracted up until? Have they signed new deals at this point? Oscar did.
Oscar
saw
did
that in midweek.
Yeah, until 2026. And then Lando, I think last year signed a multi-year deal as well. I think it's 25 or 26 as well. So both of them aren't really going anywhere anytime soon. Yeah. Has
there been any comments from Zach Brown about the team's performance recently? In terms of quotes, I've been looking, but I haven't seen.
He's just really impressed with the team, and you consider like Bahrain, the first race of the year, you had Norris constantly pitting because they're losing pneumatic pressure in the car because the car is such an issue.
They were basically collecting data.
Yeah.
I remember making that joke a few
times.
Extended
test sessions, they called them.
Exactly. That's how bad it actually was. They were collecting data constantly. Like, now that I actually think about it, it was actually a horrendous start. It wasn't even like a average behind Alpine. No. It was actually horrendous. They were back of the grid, so yeah.
I mean, for a team that said coming into the start of the season, openly admitted we're behind development on this car, we need to work hard. To come from that to being arguably second best in the grid has been a phenomenal jump from them.
Is that one of the biggest jumps you've seen in the season in terms of, because at the start of the season, now that you're reminding me of what it was like, I actually did not think McLaren would do anything this season. From that start, it looked like they were going to at best be close to maybe Alpine at best. And that was even a long shot with the way they started, because they were literally they were so uncompetitive. Like you said, they weren't even racing really at that point.
Yeah, for sure. It's for as long as I can remember, really, I can't remember a team having this much of a jump mid-season. And, you know, they made a good bit of progress last year, and then they came in this year, and like you said, behind Alpine and things like this. And the first couple of races weren't great, but to make that jump throughout the season, particularly since them upgrades at Silverstone, has just been mega from them.
Yeah, it's absolutely mad. Also, Mercedes as well, Russell and Hamilton right next to each other in this race. I don't know with Mercedes. I mean, I don't want to come off like I've left. I'm still with Mercedes. It's just, you know, I've got this top and I like it, and I feel like McLaren are, you know, they deserve
Mercedes
that
power unit too,
yeah,
so, you know, you're good.
Nobody's been supporting McLaren too much. Obviously, it's been Abbey and Joe, and they've been going with Ferrari, Red Bull. So, and Sam refuses to pick a team. We managed to get him settled on AlphaTauri and I think Gasly at one point. And obviously, there's been a few other Mercedes fans as well, Potts and whatnot. So yeah, I felt like somebody needs to show some support for this team. But Mercedes in a position of, I wouldn't say strength for sure, kind of just the bare minimum you'd maybe ask for. But I've been saying on previews, I mean, and podcasts, that I feel like Mercedes, whenever they do have a good weekend, like last weekend, we basically saw them borderline almost have, you know, two cars in third and fourth, and then obviously what happened with Russell in the last lap. But it's always one step back, one step forward, two steps forward, two steps back. There is no progression, even with all these upgrades on the W14. We don't really seem to be going anywhere. At this point, I know there's that fight for second and the money's on the line, but next season's basically in everyone's heads, it seems now.
Yeah, for sure, it has to be, you know, because even this weekend, like George was saying, after qualifying, we're not going to be in the fight. We're just going to try the best that we can do. Yeah. But yeah, you know, I mean, they need to turn the attention to next year. They have, or there's been some rumours I heard where they have some very different things planned for the W15 next year. But you know, there are different things planned this year, there are different things planned last year, and they're still in a bit of a mess. So
is this becoming a situation where it's like the iPhone, where they tell us there's new things coming and then it's just the same thing?
It's just the same thing, kind of. That's what it seems like, yeah.
It seems like they're just waiting for Mercedes cars to malfunction, and they'll say next time we're bringing out another model, and it's really not too different from the previous model. We've got someone in the comments saying as well they expect to see both Red Bulls on the podium today. Deep down in my heart, I see where you're coming from. But I also would like to dream that it won't be the case, and we will actually get a fresh, either double McLaren or, listen, maybe even Ferrari. They have had a good couple of weeks. We've seen Sainz, speaking of Sainz, behind Leclerc. Any chance for him to maybe do something today in terms of a podium, or are you ruling him out of that one?
I originally said Sainz the other day when we did the preview, but I'm not so sure today. They didn't really seem as close as they were in Singapore. Yeah. But you know, even Leclerc came out and said yesterday that it would be very difficult for him to get on the podium from fourth. So, you know, anything can happen on the opening lap if they can take advantage of maybe a skirmish in front of them or something. You'd never know. But no, in true race pace, I don't think so.
I want to run right down to Liam Lawson, because obviously he's familiar with Japan, very familiar racing in Japan. Not on this circuit though.
I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. I think they already had a round of Super Formula in Suzuka this year. I know the finale next month is in Suzuka, or at Suzuka, so, but he'd be quite familiar with it. I'd imagine they'd have tested and done stuff there, so.
Because it would be the one track he would probably only be familiar with, this one maybe.
This one, and then he'd have F2 experience from Monza and Zandvoort.
Okay, yeah. Okay, good for him.
Maybe not Zandvoort, but not Monza he would have, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because he was really good last week. And he starts in that, just outside the top 10, almost qualified. He's there in 11th, so, you know, could be another points finish. Obviously, they've already announced that Ricciardo and Tsunoda will be the drivers next year at AlphaTauri, but I still feel like there could be a seat for him somewhere in F1 if he's brave enough to take that leap to maybe a team like a Williams, or, you know, if Red Bull are even allowing him to even make that move. How does that work? If he hasn't got a contract in F1, but they're going to say have him as a reserve driver, but he's contracted under the Red Bull branch, is he allowed to break that and go to?
Well, not technically break it. Essentially what happened with Alex Albon a few years ago was that they made a deal with Mercedes because Mercedes supplies the power unit to Williams, and they weren't too keen about having a Red Bull driver in there.
Yeah.
But they made the deal that, you can use Alex for the season, whatever, he'd be your driver. But in the case that we'd need him for either AlphaTauri or for Red Bull, we have the right to call him out of that seat. Okay. It's something very similar to what George Russell did a few years ago at Mercedes when he was at Williams, and Lewis had COVID-19. Yeah. And they were able to grab Russell because they were his driver and said, look, we need him in the car now.
Okay, so it's almost like they're sending him out on loan.
Yeah, pretty much.
Mad, that's actually quite cool. And of course, in terms of quick cars in this back part of the grid, I mean, everybody that's down there is kind of expected to be down there, apart from maybe Lance Stroll in 17th, his teammate Fernando Alonso in 10th. Is Stroll under any pressure? People keep speaking about Stroll. I've spoken about Stroll many a time, probably since the start of the season. I think that gave him his leeway kind of when he had his wrist injury at the beginning. I think he was kind of basically overperforming in that period. But apart from that, most of the time I've been saying, listen, Stroll is not really... And maybe this has helped that Aston Martin have kind of fallen away as well, where the expectations, or not even the expectations, but the kind of achievements and performances were so high in those podium finishes that it was actually making it more obvious that he wasn't ready for that level. Whereas now they've kind of come down to the midfield pack, just above maybe an Alpine and behind the other big teams. He doesn't stand out as much, but today, 17th, it's not great.
No, it's not great. And the thing I just say about Lance Stroll, it's very funny with him because he's not a driver that usually crashes every weekend or gets in people's way like a Mazepin or somebody. There's been races where he's actually been quite good. You know, he finished on the podium in Baku. He took pole in Turkey a few years ago for Racing Point in the wet. He's a really good driver, but then he has these bouts of, like we've seen the last couple of weeks, where he just can't keep up with Alonso. And then, like you said, the drop-off at Aston Martin wouldn't be helping that. It's very funny. I'm not really sure what to think of him sometimes.
Yeah, no, you're right. Like, he's not one of those ones that clearly stands out as someone that has to leave. He kind of plays with that line. He plays with that line between not good enough, but just about good enough to keep his place. Maybe if there is some politics involved, which there is.
Yeah, of course.
So he's very much on the edge. But I feel like long term, if Aston Martin are really going places, then he is under serious pressure. If not now, then next season he'll have to step it up massively. There's far too much talent coming through as well for him not to really be under that pressure. But listen, if his dad doesn't say he's under pressure at any point, then he won't be. And I'll be. Did they ever ask him that question, or is that kind of like a no?
I imagine it comes up at the Sunday family dinners. You know.
Do you think the media team will ask him that question, like, is Stroll under pressure? Do you think that has that conversation even taken place this season?
I'd imagine it's taken place. I can't remember off the top of my head when it's been said in the mainstream media, but you know, I'm sure you have a lot of people thinking it.
Yeah, no, 100% thinking it and maybe too afraid to say it. I remember actually at the start of the season I was bringing it up so much, and everybody was like, on panels were like, no, you can't say that. No, he's not that bad. I was like, you're picking on him. I said, hold on a second. Is his dad here? Like, what's going on here? We can all see what's going on. He's not potentially going to be there for the whole time. I know that they've obviously invested in him massively. Obviously, he's a son and he's come through the ranks, but that's the kind of decision between ultimate ambition of being the best F1 team and supporting your son. I think he could be a reserve driver for them one day.
Yeah.
It would be embarrassing for Stroll, but then you keep Stroll in the mix and you achieve as much as you can. So for me, that would probably be the way to go if you didn't want to kick him out the team completely.
If you keep saying the things you're saying about Stroll, his father's going to have one of them online videos attacking you next, like he did with
I want him in there for
the rivals.
I want to ask him the hard-hitting questions that people are not asking him. I want to ask those questions. Will your son take you to the level you aspire to be in F1? If not, what happens? Be honest. I want to ask those questions. He'll probably leave, but at least I would have asked the question. Obviously, we mentioned Sargent starting from the pit lane, 10-second penalty. They had to build a whole new car. His position in F1 is shaky, to say the least. The only rookie who's not is Piastri. So, what do you think happens with him? Do you see him next season in that car, or no?
I mean, I do and I don't. It's the only seat left for next year, Williams, and you know, they were saying this weekend he was on the pace with Albon, so it kind of shows he can do it, he can build up to it. But you know, if they want to give him the benefit of the doubt for next year, on the basis that he's going to come back much stronger, I can see that happening. But you know, when you've Liam Lawson, Mick Schumacher, Felipe Drugovich, people like this in the waiting wings, you know, you can't help but think, would I be better going for one of those guys?
It's kind of crazy that that is the only seat that you can realistically see available. Everybody else is tied down, is it, to next season? They don't look like they're going to change anything.
The funny thing is, as well, I was looking at yesterday when Ricciardo and Tsunoda were confirmed, the only driver that's changed actually for next year so far is Ricciardo. Everybody else is the same as they were this year, which is really surprising in Formula 1. Usually you'd have a couple of people, yeah,
and it just goes to show how limited the spaces are. I thought Ricciardo's position could be in a bit of jeopardy. He might go back to being reserve driver at Red Bull, but then when you think about it, he was so eager to get back in it, and as soon as you take him out of that driver's seat, and then he's unlucky with injury, very difficult to then say go back to reserve driver and then we bring Liam Lawson in. Even though Liam Lawson is very talented, I think part of Red Bull are probably thinking, should we have called him up first?
Yeah.
And then we wouldn't have this problem, because if he was to go, I think they, like you said, they've got control over his future. But if he was to go, big loss it seems for them, because this seems like a mad talent. And Perez should be on the thin ice as well. I think the only reason why Perez is going to be okay for next season is purely because Verstappen's been that good. I think if he had been in another title race with Lewis Hamilton, like he was a couple of years ago, and there was more points lost back and forth, I think Perez would be under way more pressure, because now you'd probably have a team right close alongside Red Bull. And for strategy, I mean, Perez will know himself, how important was he in Abu Dhabi to stop Hamilton from clearing off down the road? If he wasn't there, situation may have changed. Obviously, Latifi probably had a word about that anyway. He probably had something planned.
He certainly did at the end anyway.
Latifi was the backup plan for Red Bull in the end, even though he was a Mercedes driver at the time. But that just goes to show how important it is to have two cars fighting at the front. If you have that competition, then you can control the situation. Luckily for Red Bull, they didn't have that this year. But if they do in the future years, Perez is going to be under more pressure to actually defend and help and support and strategy. So I think if he's not back up there next year, then is his contract ending next?
End of next year, yeah.
Yeah, he'll be in big trouble.
Yeah,
big trouble. What's going on right now?
The national anthems.
Yeah, national anthems taking place right now. 6 o'clock start, is it, in the UK?
Yes.
It will be. So 13 minutes to go, people. Let's see what you guys are saying in the chat. Give us your predictions, if you haven't already, in the chat. First, second, third. I'm pretty sure I know you guys are going to go Verstappen in first. 6 a.m. races should be illegal. Lawson would have got the seat, but Ricciardo has commercial value. Very good point. Very, very good point.
They're saying as well yesterday in some of the interviews they were doing with Sky that the one thing people don't remember is the experience Ricciardo has. He's driven so many different cars now.
Yeah.
He can bring all that into the development of next year's car, which makes a lot of sense as well. I didn't think about it that way.
Good
that
point.
Does make sense.
Yeah, versatile. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a tough question, but how many driving styles are there? Because when people always say like we're suiting the car to this particular driving style, like, okay, cool. Is there a list that I can look at and be like, oh, he's that type of driver, he's that type of driver, that type of driver?
Not particularly, I don't think, but I could safely say that every driver has their own kind of unique style. That's why we heard, last year with Ricciardo, or the year before when he came into McLaren and he had such problems, is because it didn't suit him particularly.
Yeah.
That's what we see with Perez now when he gets the upgrades and they're suited towards Verstappen. It doesn't suit him.
Yeah.
Each driver has their own characteristics. Like again, Perez, he's known for his tyre management and going further than everyone else. There's all these little things, it's almost difficult to explain. It's like if me and you had a car, the exact same car, and I got into yours, I won't be able to drive it because it's completely set up differently for whatever way you drive.
Yeah. And they have to design both cars the same?
Pretty much, yeah, they have to be identical.
Aspect, yeah, okay. Difficult.
Setups and everything will be generally different, but the car itself will be pretty much the same, yeah.
Yeah. Verstappen at the moment talking with his team, I think.
He looks relaxed.
Yeah, Christian Horner. They did say last week that they would be back, and they plan to be back, and they plan to be, taking. But they said, what did they say? Enjoy it while it lasts, something like that. And they were completely correct, because they're back at the front here on this grid for this Grand Prix, and I personally can't see anybody getting anywhere near Verstappen. Is he on the right side of the track for what you were saying earlier with?
Yes, he'd be on the left side here as we look at it, the clean side.
Yeah, the clean side, even better for him. Insane.
Do you know a funny fact about this race? Actually, I was reading this morning. The way on the podium ceremony now at the end, the drivers get the trophy and they're celebrating. Sometimes they'll kiss it, sometimes they'll hold it up. The trophies for this race will actually have, for the first time ever, a kiss-activated trophy. So when they kiss it, when they're celebrating, it'll light up.
That's insane. Of course, Japan come with that level of technology.
It's just a bizarre thing.
Yeah. Japan were always destined to come with that level of technology that no one else could compete with. That's crazy. I look forward to seeing that. It's a shame it's not a night race. Because if that was done in a night race, that would be even better. That's even though Singapore is a long race and it's difficult sometimes for overtaking another street track. That's one of the few things that makes it stands out is a night race. But then Las Vegas is going to be...
That's going to be a night race.
That's going to be a second night race on the grid.
The next race in 2 weeks' time, Qatar, that'll be night race.
Okay, right.
We have a couple of night races on the calendar now.
Yeah. I always enjoy a little bit of change. So next, after this race, we go to... Where do we go
Qatar.
to next? Qatar.
That's a sprint.
There's actually a lot more races than I thought. It does feel like it's coming towards the end of the season. I think maybe because Verstappen's wrapped this up so early, he's almost taken maximum points at this point. Almost broke another record. He equalled a record, didn't quite break it, isn't it? With what happened in Singapore, with the races one in a row.
Yes, they were on 15 consecutive races. Red Bull and McLaren hold the record for 16.
Yeah, but because of his dominance, it feels like we should be a lot closer to Abu Dhabi than we are. But there's actually a lot of races left. You got two in the US, Las Vegas and is it Texas, isn't it?
Texas and Las Vegas, yeah.
And then we've got Mexican as well, Brazilian, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, like you said as well. Am I missing another one? So there's a lot of races left, to be fair.
It just goes to show how much the calendar has grown because 15, 20 years ago, the season finale was Japan.
Oh, yeah.
So that just goes to show.
And they've added, yeah. I still always say it every season. I wish they kept Australia as the first one, not Bahrain.
Yeah, it felt like tradition getting up to watch it there.
Yeah. And when I played the game as well, Australia was always the first Grand Prix, and it just felt right. Daniel Ricciardo, he started it, happy, cheerful vibes. It felt right. Now they start with Bahrain, but that's with all the testing as well. It's done there, so
yeah, it just kind of suits better.
Yeah. Let's see what's happening in the chat. One-sided race today, to be honest. There's 3 driving styles. You can mix them up, oversteer, understeer and neutral. My brain's half asleep right now. Hopefully we have a good race. Ricciardo washed out because he underperformed. And it should be Lawson Sonoda. Yeah. I also feel that too. But I did say that Ricciardo needs to go to a team like AlphaTauri when he was a reserve driver and prove himself again. He hasn't really had the opportunity to do that. So as much as I would have been excited to see Liam Lawson start in that position, Ricciardo, I guess, does need the opportunity to actually show what he's capable of. Because this is a guy that's won races.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like the level that he's capable of reaching is really high. It's just, can he get back to that level? That's the question that everybody will have. But we have to give him the chance to see if he can do it. So, but yeah, hopefully we see Liam Lawson in some capacity next season, even if it is just a few odd races here and there. Then hopefully, any other drivers coming through that you think? Because we spoke about Liam Lawson maybe being at Williams. Any other drivers coming through the ranks in other kind of divisions?
Well, the likes of F2, there's always people coming through. The likes of Theo Pourchaire, who's leading the championship at the minute. He's been very exciting. And then you've got like 6 contracted Red Bull drivers in F2. It's almost like a grid full of Red Bull cars when you watch the races. But there's people coming through there like Isaac Hadjar, Ayumu Iwasa, Red Bull drivers that should, in the next year or so, be at least getting tested out for AlphaTauri, see what they can do. Why is it Red Bull so dominant in F2 like that? Just more investment? Just pretty much, yeah. Like Mercedes, they have Frederick Vesti and people like this, and then Theo Pourchaire is a Sauber junior driver, which is the Alfa Romeo team. Yeah. So there's always that kind of mix. You have Alpine drivers as well, Jack Doohan and Victor Martins, people like this. But it just seems that Red Bull has given more in terms of developing into younger drivers. Yeah. And as Helmut Marko put it, having too many drivers, it's not a bad problem, is it? No, it's true. It's true. Weren't they meant to be cutting down? But is it maybe not in F2 and maybe in a different division? I'm not sure.
But I heard somewhere they were meant to be cutting down on drivers because they, even in other, is it in Liam Lawson's, is it the, what's it called?
Super Formula.
Super Formula.
Yeah.
Do they not have loads of drivers in that as well?
It could be. I'd imagine they have a few. Yeah. See, this has always kind of been a problem. I remember a few years ago as well when Albon left Red Bull because they didn't have anywhere else to put him. To put him and Liam Lawson into DTM, which is touring car racing or GT3 racing in Germany now, because literally they had nowhere else to put them.
Yeah. No, that's ridiculous. They've got some next level system going on there. That's crazy. This is why there's always so much pressure when you are sitting in that Red Bull car, because there's literally like...
There's a queue of people behind you wanting to get in.
There's a backlog of 70 other drivers just waiting for this seat, and you're currently in it.
Half the F2 grid wants to get in that car. We'll start performing.
Let's hope today can be a good race. Let's hope indeed. Last year, I was saying earlier, it started off really late. How late was it last year? Was it an hour late?
It started on time, but it went to 2 laps and was red flagged. And then there was like a 2-hour delay because of the rain.
Yeah. So it wasn't a delayed start, it was a delay during the race.
Yeah.
No chance of rain today, is there?
It doesn't seem like it, no. Which is good.
Yeah, thankfully, because this place usually does bucket a little bit. Let's see. I'm looking forward to that formation lap now when I know that we're almost there.
Looking forward to this first lap. It's always exciting in Japan when they come up through the S curves and they're fighting with each other. And
do you think there could be some contact first lap?
I'd imagine so.
Yeah.
Because the problem here with Suzuka is the first corner is basically almost flat. You just lift off, and then the second one you're braking hard. So there's everybody trying to get in front of each other going into that second corner to get the brakes on.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm just taking a look at the track now.
They were actually saying during the weekend, which I never noticed before, coming down the pit straight when they hit the DRS, usually on a circuit you'd brake and the DRS would go off.
Yeah.
But because they're coming into that first corner so fast, they have to manually deactivate themselves when they hit the DRS line.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's just a flick of a button, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
How many buttons are on that steering wheel? Because I was looking at a close-up of Hamilton's fastest lap there, and they put it on YouTube, but this is from years ago. They showed, obviously, Verstappen's from practice as well. And I was looking at the amount of buttons, I was thinking, I'm definitely forgetting what half of these do on any given day.
It is insane. And we talked about before about Sainz in Singapore with the concentration he had and, to keep the cars behind him. But on top of that as well, you're constantly changing brake balance, you're changing diff set, and, you're doing this every corner. So to be looking down and doing that and, watching your mirrors and...
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
Travelling at that speed as well. It's actually insane. There's so many people that obviously are not into F1 and they just simplify it to something like, they're just driving around the track.
Yeah, no.
It's just, they're just going fast. Vroom, vroom. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
And I just sit there sometimes, I think, are you having me on? Are you is this some sort of joke? This is such a difficult sport. It's insane. The margins are so fine. I'm trying to think of a sport where the margins are finer, because I don't think there is really. I'm trying to think what sport where the margins are finer, where I'm talking like a second is huge.
Yeah.
Like a pit stop from a 3.5 to a 4.5 is massive.
You've lost places.
Like if you do a 4.5 pit stop, people are watching your back when you go back into that paddock. So it's insane. And then on top of that, the speed and the proximities at some of the tracks between your car, your rear tires and the wall when you're coming out of corners, with those street tracks. It's just so complicated. The
thing I seen during the week as well is at Singapore last weekend, some of the drivers lost up to 3 kg of weight just from sweating from driving in the heat.
Yeah. Imagine that. 3 kg. That's a lot. Again, that's a massive amount to lose in one race. Buckets of sweat just everywhere. Oh my days.
Surprised George Russell didn't ask if it was raining again.
That's actually insane. 3 kg, wow. How many laps was that?
Singapore was 62.
Yeah.
I think it's 53 here. I'm not so sure.
That's a lot. Yes, the sushi as well. Guys, make sure you're ready for that. when we start doing the predictions for the lap times, well, not lap times, sorry, that would be impossible. But for the pit stops, we have to be 0.5 seconds or less in the range of what it is. If we commit to it and we start writing down predictions and we get that wrong and we're more than 0.5 seconds out of what it actually is, then we have to take one of the wasabis. We have to take a. Maybe
it'd be worth keeping in mind if we keep getting too close, maybe shorten the gap.
Yeah,
play a bit of a dare.
Yeah, if it keeps going left, we're under pressure from the first one. Usually, it takes me a while to get that first one correct.
I don't know why I'm daring myself. I'm petrified. The sushi.
But they're just doing their formation lap now. But yeah, usually it takes me a couple of pit stops before I actually get anywhere close. My judgment's just way off in the first few.
Eye on the live timing here to make sure to see if anybody has any problems on the formation lap. But all seems good at the minute.
Yeah. Don't know why it felt like there was way more cars on the grid than usual for some reason with that shot that they just did.
It seems to be very slow away from the grid.
Yeah, it does as well.
The Japanese fans were saying, even in the practice sessions, every time the light went green in the pit lane to let the cars out, they were cheering, they were clapping.
His atmosphere is just crazy.
Yeah.
Such a global sport. It's insane that, like, no matter what country you go to, the support is just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Everybody just loves it. Mad. That's a really good shot, actually. That shot just before that one there.
I love the new camera they've been trying on Lewis Hamilton's car. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like on the side of the car, and when he turns, the camera turns, kind of thing. So it's like you're in the car with him. Anyway. Yeah, it swivels on a gimbal. It's really cool.
I wonder how small these cameras are.
That one actually showed it on the feed.
I'd love to be able to see tiny. The camera. Yeah, because they always show the shot, but they never show the camera. Yeah. And I'm like, considering that these cars, every little bit of weight they are trying to manage and make sure is not impacting the car's speed. Yeah. That camera better be so small. It better not even be noticeable to the point where it's like not even weighing anything. Obviously, everybody will have them, but.
I remember an incident a few years ago, Red Bull, when they released one of their new cars for the season. They got in trouble with their front wing. They had to change it because when you're building a car, you have to account for the cameras and the weight. But they built the camera in a way that it was inside the front wing. Yeah. And they were just like, no, you can't do that. You can't race with that. So they had to change the front wing. But it was really cool just seeing it just peeping out.
So they're the ones that get to decide where these cameras go?
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know if they get to decide where they go in the car, but they have to account for it in their weight.
Yeah. Mad. Verstappen just backing them up a little bit, going off again. Verstappen better slow that down because I don't think Oscar is too keen to get.
The longer Verstappen has to win the grid, the better. The colder his tyres will get.
Yeah. What's the rules on how much you're allowed to back up the pack on the formation lap like that?
I'm not so sure on the formation lap. I know in the safety car you can't go 10 car lengths behind the car in front of you.
Okay.
You get a penalty, but I'd imagine it's more or less the same rules for the formation lap.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get to the grid as quick as possible anyway, because you don't want cars sitting there losing temperature.
Yeah. I was just thinking, if you're at the back of the grid, how slow are you allowed to drive to allow Max to just sit there? Max to just sit there and wait for endless amount of time while his tyres just get colder and colder. Just all lining up now on the grid. Even in go-karting, there's no better feeling than just being able to line up that car on the grid and just know that next time you put your foot down, it's not a joke anymore.
Yeah. I wonder what it's like for the drivers in terms of nerves or.
Their reaction times have to be so good as well for those lights. But yeah, I'd love to know what
Sargent coming in.
Sargent's just parking up.
Here we go then.
We're about to go. There we are. We've started. Lights out. Max Verstappen gets a really good.
Ooh.
I was going to say good exit. The McLarens. Ooh. Oh, and there's someone gone off as well. But we'll have to take a look at that again. Someone went off, but they managed to piece it back together and put it back on track. because they were going into the dirt.
That was very tight.
Both the McLarens were having an eye on Max in that first start there, but it's a yellow flag, isn't it? Yeah. Just as we were starting, both the McLarens lined up either side of Max, but he just managed to keep himself ahead.
2 AlphaTauris side by side as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Green flag again, so no problems in the first couple of corners. There was a car, I'm not sure which one of the cars went off onto the dirt a little bit, but they managed to keep it together. But both the AlphaTauris...
They're still going at it.
Yeah, Tsunoda and Liam Lawson there. Wow. Tidy start. But that, I thought one of the McLarens were going to get ahead there.
That was a really good start from
Norris. And it was both of them as well. Both of them got off to really good starts.
Yeah.
It's like they just got this second gust of wind and they just went for it.
Oh, safety car.
Again? Oh. Yeah, proper safety car now. Something's happened.
I wonder if something's
happened. What has happened?
This is interesting.
What's that back there? Did you... Yeah, there.
It's debris. Somebody...
front wing.
From that first corner accident, whatever it was, yeah. And it's right on the racing line.
Yeah.
That's why they've called the safety car.
Okay. So, yeah.
Bottas,
part of his front wing damage. Do you think he'll come in?
Yeah, you have to come in with that, yeah.
Yeah. Is that tilted? Yeah, he'll definitely have to come in. That's a massive imbalance on that car. Bottas.
He's got half of somebody else's wing, has he?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure who he clipped. I'm not sure who he clipped. I saw someone going off into the gravel. I'm not sure who it was. Get a replay on that. But Bottas, part of his front right front is completely damaged, so he's gonna have to come in and get a whole new front wing. Just take a look at that start again. Max getting absolutely sandwiched by both the McLarens.
Norris,
almost got themselves. And who went off there? Was that a Mercedes? I think no. Let's watch this again. Was it a Mercedes pulling out to the? Yeah, just tried to go around Perez. It was a Mercedes. Yeah, it was a Mercedes. Not sure if it was George or Max. George or Lewis, but. Yeah, Perez getting very, very aggressive on that straight. Elbows out.
That was a brilliant start from Norris. It's a shame he couldn't hold that.
It is a shame.
You're never going to go around the outside of Max Verstappen, though.
Because if one had got ahead, maybe. It would have been interesting to see how they managed that. Whoa, that was close to the Ferrari. That was so close. They're going to show Hamilton's view. So he's the one. So Perez gets off to a really slow start. That's what causes the problem.
Because of science.
And Hamilton just has to... Oh, Jesus. He just about managed to keep that. He could have lost that car. It's Perez that got off to a really, really slow start. He lost a good few places there, Hamilton. He lost a good few places.
We've seen that with Bottas. Whoa!
Do you know what? We should have had a crash.
Yeah.
How did we not have a crash on that straight?
When I seen that big plume of smoke from the back, I was convinced somebody was going into the gravel.
My days. I don't know how we haven't had some sort of crash. There was loads of little battles in that first, on that grid start there. Oh my days.
Wow, how do you keep that going?
When you look at it from that angle, you really have to question how that's actually managed to keep it all, how they've managed to keep that on the track there. That's insane.
He'll have damage to the floor there.
Yeah.
He'll be really down on pace now. If they might even retire him if it's too much. But
my God. Insane. Could have had a good couple of crashes, I think, in that first part of the race. Hamilton, lucky that he kept it on there with Perez, and then obviously the collision as well. What a start from... Yeah, that's a brilliant start. Just didn't have enough room.
Yeah.
Had to pull out in the end. Which is a shame, yeah. Shame. So a new front
wing change for Perez.
Yeah. Why he got off to such a... Well, I don't know how he got off to such a slow start. It was really bad.
I'm not sure was it necessarily slow. I think he just kind of got caught with Sainz trying to go up the middle of him. And then he pushed wide onto Hamilton, not knowing Hamilton was there.
Yeah.
Now, why are they going so slowly?
So he comes back out.
Will he be
Will he be?
a lap down, would he? No, he won't be, I don't think.
No, he won't be a lap down because
No.
he would have come in. But he will be.
He would have come in from the front, yeah.
He's at the back. He's in last, isn't he?
More or less, 18th.
Yeah. 18th. Perez, 18th.
I'm very surprised we've all 20 cars still running after that.
Yeah. Should be about 17. Honestly. Yeah, credit to them for actually all still being out there on that track, because a few of them could have easily been DNF'd. But they're just following the safety car around now. So we'll be going back racing hopefully soon.
Seen Hamilton there saying he has a little bit of damage on the car, but it's only a small bit, so
yeah.
Shouldn't be too much for him. Look at Alonso up to 6th. He started 9th.
That's a big jump for him. Where's Stroll? Has he made
He's 11th.
Yeah, Stroll's made progress
That's
as well. Both
start.
the Aston Martins have massively improved from all of that chaos. Stroll's almost in the points. Seems like they've had an issue here, is it? Oh. Didn't have it ready. What's happened? What is going on?
They're trying to lift the... Why are you trying to lift the car after changing the wing?
What is going on with this? Now that is one of the messiest... Oh, this is horrendous. Oh, this is horrendous. That is one of the worst stops I've seen.
Usually when they break the front wing, you'd see them lift the car by the wheels like that. But like they put the front wing on, so I don't understand.
They were all over the place there with Bottas. Picking up the car, moving the car left, right, getting the wing on, taking the tyre off, putting the tyre... They were all over the place. There was no strategy, no planning with that one. They just all went in there and just got stuck in.
all hands on deck.
That's almost like what you'd expect it to be if you sent in a bunch of people to change a tyre that had never changed an F1 tyre before, or changed the front wing. No jack, nothing. Just went in there, lifting everything up. Oh my God. Rightfully so, they're at the back of the grid after that one. Oh dear. I am up early indeed, bro, in the chat. We are up early indeed. It's a long day ahead of me.
Chelsea playing today?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Big North London derby as well.
I think that's right, yeah.
Some good games in the evening as well, Madrid derby. So.
I was thinking of staying up to watch the Arsenal game, but I think I'll be hitting the bed fairly soon after this when I get home.
Understandably so.
The safety car in this lap, back to racing.
Yeah, thankfully. So let's just see who's made movement. So Perez massively changed the circumstances of his race. So we were saying that he, would look like he'd get ahead of Leclerc probably, and then he'd be having the McLarens to deal with. He's now found himself down in 18th, so his race completely changes. Do you think that rules him out of podium?
It depends. It's a long way to
Still
go.
early,
You could have another safety car.
Yeah, true. And that's actually right. It doesn't. You can never rule out anything.
And given the pace of that Red Bull too,
If he goes longer and they have a safety car at the right time, he might get propelled right up there. But he probably would need some sort of fortune. Going past everyone would be some feat.
I'd imagine he's on the hard tyres now, so he'll go a lot longer than everyone else.
Surely he'll be on the hard tyres. Green flag has been given. Mentioned Stroll made big leaps. Lawson and Tsunoda both in the top 10 in good positions.
Max now just waiting. Get the jump. He'll get out of this chicane now and just floor it.
Yeah. There he is.
There he goes.
Gone. There he is. Max makes his move. And what a gap he's already put between him and the McLaren.
Alonso behind one of the Ferraris here. Will he make a move? No.
It's a quick first corner, like you said, flat out. There we are. Max is looking like he's already building a bit of a gap on McLaren now, on Norris.
I'm really wide there. Stayed on the track. Who's that?
Yeah.
Hamilton.
Come on, man. The speed is ridiculous. When you get those camera shots, you really realise just how insane what they're doing actually is. Because when they're all driving together, it looks like normal speed.
Yeah.
Because everybody's doing it. But when you get the individual cam, that's when you see just how quick it is.
It's interesting here now. Alonso's made up positions, and he's actually on the softer tyre. He's on the red wall soft tyre, whereas everybody else in the front are on the mediums.
Oh, who's that? Who is
Bottas again?
Oh my God!
Oh, he's having a terrible weekend.
Gee. Yeah, his race is finished.
How did he go off there?
I'm telling you, it's retirement time.
Here comes Russell and Hamilton.
Oh, the Mercedes going close there. Great driving from both of them, but Russell doing brilliantly well to get ahead of Hamilton. And now they're going back at it, Hamilton. And there he is, Hamilton on the outside, back in front of Russell on that straight, just going back into turn one.
A little bit of a nudge there into the corner as if to say, don't you come at me again.
They're not friends, are they? Don't try that with me again. Indeed.
That's the last thing they want to be doing at the start of this race, is racing each
going
other.
up against each other. But they're both too competitive to be, playing the team game, I think. Unless one of them were going for a championship, then I think the other one would, and as long as the other one wasn't involved in that championship and winning it, I think they would maybe, play that game. But in terms of the way the season's gone, I think they'd rather just go for it.
Yeah.
They didn't come to Mercedes to be, 6th, 7th.
No.
So now they're probably thinking, listen, this is not the expectation anyway. We're going to just go racing.
Here's what happened to Bottas.
Lock up.
Oh,
it's the connection. There you are.
Which Williams was that, I wonder?
I think that's got to be Sargent, no?
I imagine so.
I can't believe that. Yeah, I can't imagine that would be Albon. I think
Yeah,
that's Sargent.
Sargent.
Sargent locked up.
Straight into
massive.
the side.
Oh, Jesus. So is that Sargent's fault?
Yeah, he's
Sargent
locked up.
Sargent locked up like crazy, and then clipped Bottas as he was going around the outside. Sargent is my new Latifi. He is becoming my new Latifi. My days. Williams always got one.
Stroll, Latifi, Sargent.
I mean, there'll never be another Latifi. Sargent is doing his best to try and replicate what he used to do. Such a shame. He does such a bad job at times. No one's ever spoken about him coming back to F1 again. Verstappen just put in the fastest lap, as expected. Has Perez moved up any places? It's just the one, I think. Got ahead of Albon. There he is.
He won't be long moving when he gets them tyres up to speed.
Yeah, it's the Alfa Romeo next, isn't it?
Mr. Zhou Guan Yu.
Yeah. Perez got to be climbing through that field quick. Got a lot of... look at the gap between Verstappen and the McLarens already. And who's this? That's Bottas. in again.
I'd imagine this is going to be a retirement.
I think that's, yeah. I think they're sending Bottas back out.
The way they were looking underneath the car, I thought.
If I had to put money on anybody to DNF, it does feel like Bottas will be the first.
You'd have to argue he should have DNF'd already.
Yeah,
involved in 2 incidents.
Yeah, it's true. Let's see. Aston Martin, Tsunoda, Stroll. So Stroll just behind the 2 AlphaTauris now, trying to get himself into the top 10.
See both AlphaTauris in the points at the minute. This is a good run from them if they can hold on to it.
Even though I don't like Red Bull, I like AlphaTauri, which is weird.
Yeah,
but it might not make sense to people, but that's the truth.
kind of like the little team. You want to see them do well.
Yeah,
it's always full of young drivers and.
Yeah, I want them to do well. They've always got young, talented drivers there, so.
This is I was seeing earlier on. I think today in Japan is Honda Day or something, or it's the 75th anniversary since Honda was created.
Oh, really?
So you have Verstappen Honda Power Unit. You have the 2 AlphaTauris Honda Power Units to be looking for a good result.
Yeah.
And I think Suzuka Circuit itself is actually owned by Honda.
Okay. So this really is a Red Bull. Little bit of a Red Bull track. Obviously Tsunoda as well. Home race.
Alpine's battling with the hassles at the minute.
Yeah.
It's not really where they want to be.
No, we haven't even spoken about Alpine today, but that's where they are. Ocon and Gasly nowhere near where they'd want to be.
Getting yesterday outside the top 10 in qualifying was just a bit.
Yeah, it's very flat.
Not where you want to be.
Very, very flat for them. Is that Perez there? Yeah, on Ocon, Perez is going to absolutely swoop past these two. The way that Perez is catching them, obviously he's had a bit of DRS there going into the first corner as well. It's a matter of time.
The fact that these two are fighting each other won't help Sergio.
Won't help, yeah. He's gonna
try to squeeze here, but he can't get by.
Yeah. He'll get them soon.
Perez has to be very careful coming through the grid here with this penalty for Logan Sargent.
Oh, 5 seconds.
Another one.
So 5 seconds on top of the 10 seconds. So 15 seconds.
Yeah.
And he hasn't served any of it yet.
I don't think so, no.
He hasn't been in.
And there's Bottas retiring.
There we go. Bottas retires. Predicted spot on that he would be the first one because it was just obvious. And like you said, he should have probably been already. So Bottas is the first driver out of this race with a DNF. That car cannot go any further.
You know, for our sushi prediction, should we predict how many penalties Logan Sargent's going to get? How many seconds? He just seems to be adding them up.
How many seconds will he clock up? I mean, if you were him, you probably should keep it clean for the rest of the race because 15 seconds is enough. That's enough penalties.
Yep.
15 seconds is more than enough. If you wanted to handicap yourself and make it interesting, you've done that now. That's enough penalties. You do not need any more time. Because if they're going to serve all of that in one go, which they basically may as well, that is going to feel like a lifetime. Sitting there for 15 seconds in a pit and then getting the tyres changed is going to feel like an absolute lifetime. So he's going to do minimum borderline 18
50-second pit stop.
Yeah, he's going to be doing a borderline 18-second pit stop. 18 seconds stationary.
That's if the pit stop goes right.
Exactly. And after all the yawning, with how early it is, but also with how long they've had to wait to do the pit stop, they may even be slow when it's time to put the tyres on. Oh yeah, we've got to be doing those predictions. They're reminding us production on the sushi. But we didn't get to see any times yet, have we?
Tsunoda was just in, but I don't know why he came in already. He must be trying something different.
We need to get a full complete shot of them coming in and then doing their stop, so we can make our prediction. At the moment, people that have been coming in have been doing front wings and whatnot. I don't think they've even been showing the timer. That's Ocon, isn't it? Yeah, he's going to try and get ahead. He wants to get ahead because he's like, I don't want to be the next one up for Perez. What was Perez penalised for?
Safety car infringement.
Matisse AlphaTauri, maybe you like the drivers. The team nails down to whatever Red Bull needs. Like last week, nobody showed up to the stewards' rule regarding Max impeding Yuki, hence no penalty. Impeding Yuki.
Yeah, they never turned up to it, but they were saying that even though they didn't turn up to it, that didn't have anything to do with the decision.
Yeah.
Which was a strange decision because impeding is usually a grid penalty, but they just fined Max Verstappen.
How much did they fine him? How much did they fine?
I can't remember now, but it was really strange. And even the FIA came out and said, yeah, we should have made a decision to do a grid penalty.
Oh, so they've already backtracked on what they did. Why did they do that?
No idea. Even as far as I know, even Red Bull and Verstappen themselves expected a penalty and they never got one.
Yeah.
Really strange call from the FIA, but...
How many grids were you expecting it to grid pace?
Well, going off other incidents this year, it was...
Oh, Perez got very wide. Very wide, Perez.
Usually on other incidents like that, it's been 3 places.
Damn. Yeah, Perez maybe a bit too attacking there, went off. As he's pushing to get past. He must be frustrated. Being behind these two for so long.
Alonso in the pits.
Alonso's coming in. What are we predicting? I'm going to go over 2.8. Is that 2.9?
2.9.
I said it out loud. I didn't have it written down, but I said it out loud. What did you have?
2.5.
Okay, so we're safe. I just want to be safe from the Wasabi. So that was a good way to start. I had a 2.8 there, and it ended up being a 2.9. I was close to getting it correct. But neither of us were far enough away to have the sushi at this moment. So it's a good start. If we can keep that up, we'll be good. But do you know what? Those if somebody comes in for a long time, that's when we're screwed. The longer you're in there for, the worse it gets. The worse it gets. I just lose all my bearings. Oh, oh! That's going to be a yellow flag. Magnussen needs to wait before he tries to turn that car. And he is going to... And there's...
Seen that coming. Magnussen never gives up positions easy, and Perez was always going to throw it down the inside.
Yeah. I feel like Magnussen... I don't know. Who do you think is at fault for that one?
I mean, Perez was always going to do that. I don't think he was wrong to try it. Magnussen should have been a little more careful, I think. He closed the door. He knew what he was doing. Like, he knew he was there.
It feels like one that Magnussen didn't need to do. Like, didn't need to defend. Like, I know you're trying to keep the position, but Perez is going to get in front of you.
And he is a lot quicker than you.
So it's like you're basically wasting your time trying to defend against Perez because he will get ahead of you regardless. And now he's really lost out because he was going to be overtaken by Perez regardless. Now he's lost a good
another front wing change for Perez.
Another front wing change. Who are we going with here? Perez? No. Yeah, it's going to have to be Perez because that's the only one we can see. So Perez. This is going to be tough. Good luck.
Oh, he has the penalty.
Oh, the penalty's got to be served. What was it? A 5-second penalty?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, so I'm going to go with a 9.4. Is that a 10?
16.
What was yours?
I did 5.5 because I forgot about the penalty.
Oh, come on. Oh, yeah, we're both... do you know what? We both have to do it then. We both have to do it. I told you, front wing, any of them that happen that is too long, then we're going to be in trouble. So don't think about it, just do it. Oh my God.
That's hot. I can't swallow it. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know how to explain what that tastes like.
It just messes up your nose. Oh my God, I really need to get these correct.
It's like somebody lit a match in my mouth.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's horrendous.
And they like that in Japan. I mean...
Wow, that's horrendous. That is horrendous. Yeah, we need to get these correct. That can't be happening again. And do you know what? Part of me feels like we had the... Did you have the same one?
I took the smallest one I could see.
Are they all different? I don't know. I think they're the same. That can't happen again.
Meanwhile, while we were killing ourselves with...
I really thought my nose would implode there.
With the sushi, Piastri, I think, pitted. He's down to 9th now.
Oh, why did he
did it under the virtual safety car, which was a very... That was a good move.
Yeah. He's the only one to do that.
Out of that group, I think so.
Yeah. Look at the gap between Verstappen and Norris is insane. Perez is so goofy, he keeps sending it and taking people out. 2 races in a row, it's up to the overtaking driver to get the move done safely. He wasn't alongside. I don't blame K-Mag. Fair?
That's a good point, because actually now that the chap mentioned it, he did the very same thing to Albon in Singapore. Exact same thing.
He didn't have the corner.
No. It was a bit of a dive.
Yeah, it was a dive. It was a late lunge.
I mean, I still think Magnussen should have watched for him, but, you know...
I feel like Magnussen, in that situation, like, you've done yourself no favours.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Perez didn't have that corner. But they've both paid the price.
Perez retiring.
Oh. Oh, he's really paid the price.
Yeah.
Oh my days. Well, there you are. Perez out of this race, retiring from the Grand Prix. And it has to be that lunge, is it?
This is Lando now.
No, this is Lando. What is happening?
What was this all about?
I don't even know.
This was under the VSC.
What is happening?
What was he doing there? That was Sergio. I'm confused.
I'm very confused. Has to be. Couldn't be Max.
Regardless of who it was, he shouldn't have been overtaking them under the virtual safety car.
Piastri makes the move on Gasly, moves himself up to 7th. Let's see what that pit has done for his race. Let's see where he comes out when the others pit. Hopefully he gets the benefits from that decision at McLaren.
Most of the front runners now will go on hard tyres, but I'm wondering will they get to the end with this so-called high degradation? It'd be interesting.
Oh.
Russell off.
Yeah. The 2 Mercedes side by side.
The Total Wolf isn't actually here with the team this weekend, which is maybe a a blessing he isn't, because I think we have to work with the two of them with the way they're carrying on.
I'm loving it. It's giving me flashbacks to Rosberg and Hamilton. Oh, they're not going to like that, Mercedes. They're not going to like that at all. They are really racing each other hard. And there's no love lost on that track. But they are pushing and they're losing time. That's for sure, as a collective. But yeah, they are not. They're not playing around out there. So that'll be Verstappen coming in. Do we want to go again?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm taking a look, and it is a 2.8. I think it's a safe bet.
Oh,
what was it? 3.3. Okay, I'm close. What? Oh God! Why? You didn't see what happened at the beginning, did you? I watched the whole pit stop, so I was like, nope, I am not committed to anything more than
Red Bull all the time, always have a quick pit stop, except for this once.
Do you know what, yeah? As I was watching it, I saw your head down. I was like, what are you doing? You need to see the pit stop. You need to look at this. And then as soon as I saw it, I was like, this is not a quick one from them, so I'm going to go 2.8. And if you had seen it, you would never have gone with what you went with.
Oh, here we go again.
Hamilton, really slow stop as well, 4 seconds. Oh dear.
This piece is worse than the last piece.
They're just showing a replay of, I think, those two going off, and Russ was on team radio. Not sure what he's saying because I'm so blind. But I'm sure he's not happy. I think he's been forced off there, so he'll say he has been anyway. But those two are really, really pushing. And I wouldn't be surprised, and I don't want to see it, but if those two collide, I wouldn't be shocked. Because they are really getting towards the point now of Toto needing a little talking to them, but he's not there, like you said. We should really be doing that one as well, but let me just let you gather your bearings again before I throw you back into the next one. There's going to be more than enough pit stops for us to go back in, but I want Coylan to be at full fitness before he attempts the next one, because if he gets the next one wrong as well, this is going to be a tough time.
I'm taking the small ones. I really should be taking the big ones and getting them out of the way, but
getting them out of the way. Do you plan to eat everything? I don't plan to eat all of these. I plan to.
If I keep going the way I'm going, I'll be eating everything.
I plan to get the rest of them right. I probably might have one more if I get another one wrong, but you know, I'm trying to get everything right where I don't need to, because I've been warned now. I know what the situation is. It's not easy, so I need to get these all. I think 0.5 seconds is a good gap.
Let's leave it there.
Yeah, any less and we'd be really screwed. Oh, okay. So, Ferrari having a bit of a quiet time, not mentioning them too much, but from what I can see, doesn't seem to be any issues for them. Sainz at the moment leading by default, hasn't pitted yet. Leclerc has. And now Sainz is coming in as well, so there it is. Now, unless Ferrari make a mistake on this pit stop, then I can tell you that Ferrari are having a decent day. All right, let's do this one. Sainz coming in for the pit. That feels like a 2.5, and it is.
It's a 2.3.
It's a 2.3, so it's safe. What did you have?
I didn't do it because I'm still trying to recover.
You're still recovering.
Yeah.
Feeling confident now, judging these. It's the long ones. If something happens with like a front wing, that's when I'm in serious trouble. Here's Carlos Sainz. Things that is interesting. Two McLarens are going to go through the race. Is that on hard tyres, did they say? 2 sets of them. Okay.
So Verstappen taking back the lead from Russell. He's yet to pit.
Yeah. Hamilton has already pitted?
Yeah.
Yeah. Surprised they didn't double stack them, considering they're so close to each other all the time.
That was probably the reason why they didn't.
Have them both come in together, crash into each other in the pit lane.
Comes Leclerc on the Alpine.
Yeah.
Nice move.
What is Piastri doing? Where is he? He is in
third at the minute.
Okay, good. So he's made his move. Was he behind Norris before the pit?
He was,
He was. So he's made that gain into second. He's gone back into.
Moved back into second now, and Russell pits. Yeah, that's a good move.
Yeah. So that's benefited Piastri against his teammate there.
Let's just check the live time, and I'm trying to figure out how much of a gap there is between. Oh, 6 seconds between Verstappen and Piastri.
Not embarrassing.
No, that's not too bad. I would expect it to extend though.
Yes, so would I. Unfortunately, the two Alpines there. Oh, that Mercedes did feel like an Alpine in the distance with the colours, but it is actually a Mercedes. The lights were shining on it quite nicely. Let's see.
See Norris with the fastest lap as well. He's pretty pacey at the minute.
They're on hard tyres, aren't they? So keep an eye on them. What's Verstappen on, mediums?
I think he could be on hard after the pit. Oh no, he went back to mediums. That's surprising.
So Verstappen's on mediums, Piastri and...
Is Verstappen going to two-stop then? Because...
If he is, then might have a race here.
Oh, look at this. Alonso and Leclerc. Neither wants to give up. Oh, this is good.
Leclerc's going to have that going into the corner. Has Fernando got a good exit there? Don't think he has anything special.
Props to Alonso for keeping his foot in though.
Yeah, in the Aston Martin, yeah. Stroll's still in a good position as well. Could have a double points finish for Aston Martin. Lawson still in a good position, Sonoda as well. Not much change in the midfield. There we are. Saying Ocon hasn't got the power to live with the Ferrari with DRS.
No.
No, not at all.
I think here even that Ferrari's really quick in a straight line.
Hamilton versus Alonso. Love that battle every time.
And Russell's still out. I'm surprised he hasn't pitted yet.
Let's see. Alpine slowing things down again, and Hamilton's going down the inside. Not going to quite get the exit, but you have to feel if Alonso doesn't clear that Alpine in Ocon, then Hamilton's going to potentially be a massive benefactor.
Alonso saying he's not happy with his strategy. He's going to lose time now around with the cars around him. He might be quick initially, but he's going to lose time. He's going to need to pit again. So you see Hamilton catching him now.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Oh, that's going to be a move.
That's a big move from
That
Hamilton.
is a big move.
What a move from Lewis Hamilton on Fernando Alonso. And he'll take Ocon next, and then he'll be behind the two Ferraris. There he is. Easy on Ocon in that first corner. So Hamilton up to 7th.
For a guy that supposedly had a bit of damage, he's really coming through the field again.
Yeah.
And is that Lance Stroll retiring?
It is definitely an Aston Martin. It must be Stroll, yes. Stroll in the pit and
out of the car.
Out of this race. Lance Stroll becomes the third car to DNF today.
That's surprising.
Along with Bottas and Perez. So Stroll out of this race. We were just saying that Aston Martin on the cusp of double points finish. Stroll's kind of in that 11th spot. I don't know what's happened, but he is out of the race.
I've seen him go into the pit lane, but I just presumed it was a...
I didn't,
a pit.
I didn't even... I mean, there's been no incident for him, has there?
No.
So I'm not sure. It must be something technical with the car. Hasn't collided with anyone from what I can see, unless the cameras didn't pan, but no one else seems to be affected in that midfield battle. Tsunoda, Lawson still in the same spots, Gasly as well. So Russell just ahead. He's got a pit though, hasn't he? Yeah.
I think that graphic's wrong. That's...
Do you think so?
Ahead of Alonso.
That's a replay. No, can't be.
No, because Russell's still up in second.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
It's Ocon, that's who it is.
Yeah, it's an Ocon, yeah. So Russell's still got a pit. Where does that bring him out, do you think?
I'd say around Alonso Tsunoda maybe.
So he's lost time?
He'd lose time, yeah. He's going to start losing time with the cars around him now because his tyres are going to be so worn.
Yeah.
But then again, the likes of Verstappen and that might have to two-stop. It might work well in the end.
Gasly around the outside.
Good move from Gasly.
Yeah,
Tries
really
back
good
into
move.
the points.
Turn 1's really good for those overtakes, it seems.
Yeah.
Getting some really good driving down there. Okay.
Yeah, you see now you've the likes of Piastri and Norris catching Russell now because he's been out so long.
We're still on course for a double. We're really on course for a double podium for McLaren now that Perez is out of this picture.
Yeah.
Really, if McLaren can keep it together and be sensible, then they really should, bare minimum, be getting a double podium because I don't really see the Ferraris.
I can't see them being a problem.
No, I don't think so. They're really quick, so barring any incidences, I think McLaren actually should be able to get a double podium here. Which means our prediction, what did we have? Did we have Norris to finish ahead of Piastri or the other way around?
I put Piastri, Norris.
What did I do? Can't remember.
We definitely said double McLaren anyway.
Oh yeah, definitely said double McLaren. Definitely. They're finding some consistency, which can't be said for most of these teams behind the Red Bull.
It's not funny that though, you have McLaren doing so well and then you have Mercedes who supply them their power units and their own factory team are behind them. It's really tricky.
McLaren are too big of a team to be younger brothers anyway, so I'm glad. Even though I like Mercedes, I'm glad. I'm glad they can't just little bro them. Okay, pit stop. Russell. I'm getting nervous now because I can't be out here eating another one of those. Russell is going to come in and bang, begins 2.8. Always a solid. Oh, I was close. 2.9. What did you go for?
2.6.
2.6. Jeez. I'm almost having an exact prediction there. 2.8 is such a good number to go with when those pits are pretty quick. Because no one's done faster than a 1. Is it 1.9?
1.7 or something. I think is the fastest ever.
Is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was 1.8.
It's around that. Yeah, I can't remember the exact figure.
No one's doing that.
No.
If somebody does that, I'll happily eat that. You know what I mean? For not predicting it.
Cue Red Bull breaking the record just to annoy you today.
Yeah. So like 2.2 up to 3.3 is kind of the window.
Usually, if you're over 3, it'd be considered a not so good stop.
Yeah.
Know? Which is bizarre when you think about it.
Lando's catching Piastri.
There is Russell around the outside of Alonso.
Fresh tyres.
That Sargent's out now as well.
Oh.
Oh, wow. They're dropping like flies all of a sudden.
Yeah, they're really early showers.
Sargent retired.
Sargent retires. So Sargent out of this race becomes the 4th driver to retire. 4 different teams as well. Again, not sure why, because I don't see any collisions there, but the amount of penalties he had anyway, he may as well retire, to be fair, from this race. I mean, it's just been terrible from starting in the pit lane, 10-second penalty, then got another 5-second penalty. He was destined to be at the back of the grid. So
if he got any more penalties, he would have been back in Singapore.
So, yeah, he definitely needed to probably sit this one out. So Lando catching Piastri, very close.
I wonder what they'll do here now. And have to.
They haven't swapped. They're not going to swap him, I don't think. I think they'll allow Lando to maybe naturally pass him because he is just a quicker car. So you'd expect Lando to get it done. He's done a fastest lap as well. I think Lando will just get the job done. But pick somewhere good to do the job where he doesn't compromise his teammate.
I mean, I'm not sure. If he's generally faster, you would want to swap the cars because McLaren aren't going to be thinking about who's in front or who's behind. They're going to be thinking of the double podium.
Yeah, and rightly so. I don't think either of the drivers should be too... I know they want to be second, but second and third, I mean, come on, take your podiums and go home. Do you know what I mean? It's not time to be fighting over that. Teams come too far, come a long way. But I think, get him on the straight.
Here we go.
Nobody gets hurt. There you are. Synchronized swimming, unlike what's happening at Mercedes right now.
Yeah, the radio are going to swap the cars, Yeah,
well, it makes sense. I mean, if they have any hope of catching Verstappen as well, then they definitely want to swap the cars.
Yeah.
So...
when you have 2 cars in a high position, particularly McLaren that are never usually up there, you want to do all you can to protect that.
Yeah, 100%. Big points for the team.
Yeah.
Still a chance to finish second in the championship for the constructors, or too late?
I don't know. I think it's too late. But given how well they've been doing, like here this weekend and last weekend, you could say maybe.
So many drives, so many races left as well. So you never know. Perez getting back in. He wants to come back out.
Why is he doing that now?
Perez wants to come back out. It's a bit late. I personally think it's too late to come back out. But
he just had a nap or something and decided, I'll just come back. That's actually not a bad idea from the team. Sometimes you hear teams when they go 3 or 4 laps down, I just go out anyway because laps means data, laps means testing, laps means,
Yeah.
So if you can just go out there and just drive around for whatever 20 laps is left, it'll help the team.
Yeah. That's the Williams, is it? Albon.
It's Albon.
Is he out?
He's out.
Oh my God. They are dropping. Albon out of this race. Both the Williams out. Sargent a minute ago, now Albon, and I have no idea why, because I don't have audio. But, again, feels like maybe a technical issue, because if both Williams have both gone out in quick succession, I don't know if it's engine or technical. Let me see what's saying in the chat. Oscar's duo podium, his racing's been good. I'm not sure Mercedes' strategy with George was good. They did leave him out long.
Yeah, a bit too long, I think.
I don't know what to make of what's happened there with all of those DNFs, because it feels almost absurd. The gap to Piastri is closing from Leclerc. Keep an eye on that. And do you know what? The way Leclerc came around that corner, he is on a charge. He is on a serious charge, Leclerc, on Piastri for that third spot.
I'd imagine, though, with the McLarens and the hards, they're going to the end.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really tight push for them to go to the end on the mediums. Now, they might do it, but I don't know. I'd be surprised if they did.
What tyre is Leclerc on? Mediums?
Mediums, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Russell's on team radio. Maybe criticising strategy. Very interested to see what he says after this race. He finds himself down in... Is he just behind his teammate?
Who's that?
Russell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not massively...
Starting to come back a little bit,
Yeah, he's not massively... I think he's done a couple of overtakes, but he's not massively off. I think he's exactly where he was before, to be fair.
So it's a good point they've made there. The reason why they're sending Perez back out is because, of course, he has that 5-second penalty. But if they send him back out now when he serves the penalty, it won't be carried over to Qatar.
Oh, okay.
Or, a subsequent penalty.
Yeah, definitely needs to do that then, because this race is already gone, but can't be out here sabotaging the Qatar race. So yeah, Perez will come back out, it seems, guys, to serve that penalty. They must have been really wanting to get him back out, actually.
Imagine if they put him back out, serve the penalty and retire again.
So Perez will come back out for data collection, penalty serves, and bit of fun. No pressure on him. He can go out there and do whatever times he wants. He's not coming back. That's for sure. Very rare probably gets to be on the track and just enjoy. And don't even have to think about anything because you're literally done in the race. But you got such a quick car.
So, would you enjoy it, though, knowing you're whatever laps down?
Probably wouldn't enjoy it.
What am I doing back out here?
Yeah, true. But I'd probably still rather be out there putting in pointless laps than be in the garage, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
I think being in the garage is the worst place to be when the race is going on. You can hear all that sound and you're just chilling in the garage, I think. Doesn't really get any worse than that. No long... I don't want to tempt fate, but there's been no red flags, no delays.
No.
It's been a good race so far.
Apart from the brief safety car at the start, but
yeah,
they've all been relatively well behaved. Those not in the
ones
Mercedes.
that are not are sitting in the DNF position. All the liabilities have been put to the side.
And it's the usual suspects as well.
Yeah, literally. Liam Lawson in 15th. What's going on there?
I wonder, is he just pitted out? I'd say that's because he's catching Magnussen quite rapidly.
Yeah. I was hoping that he could maybe leave with points today, especially at his home track, but we'll have to see if that's a possibility in that AlphaTauri. I'm sure he's going to get him on the straight now, Magnussen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he will, and he does. Liam Lawson moves himself up past Magnussen on the straight going into turn 1. Let's see if he can claw back these positions and try and get points in his home Grand Prix. Especially after he's speaking about all the links with Honda and himself, Red Bull, like, it'd be brilliant if he could get some points. Verstappen out in front and in his own race right now. Couldn't even see anyone on the straight with him. That's how big the gap is to the McLarens. So Verstappen is very much almost in Perez mode where he can just also enjoy for different reasons.
He has gone.
Gone. He's absolutely gone. His lead is ridiculous. Every shot that they take of him, there is no other car with him. So we won't be seeing Max again today.
This is a strategy Red Bull are playing out now on the medium tyre. They're going to try and get as far as possible ahead of Norris so they can get that second stop in. And if he gets that second stop in, it's game over.
Yeah. Yeah, fastest lap and the second stop, fresh tyres, really is game over, yeah. They really trust their pit stops to be doing that. Because if it was Ferrari, I'd be saying, don't even go back in.
Yeah.
Just stay out there. Oh, pit stop.
Yuki Tsunoda.
That feels like a 3. A 2.6. That was actually quite a good pit stop. I don't know why I said 3.
I got 2, and I don't know what that is. I rushed up.
It was actually a really good pit stop. I don't know why I said 3. It was clearly a 2, but it was actually clearly a really good pit stop. Just about kept myself in the game now. 7 laps down. He's going to rejoin doing his penalties. Quiet day at Ferrari, 4th and 5th.
Yeah.
No real problems, good points. Not on the podium where they'd want to be, but reliability, pit crews on point, drivers no mistakes. I think it's important.
No bizarre strategies.
Yeah, no, nothing. Just nothing stupid has happened for them. Just normality. Ever since Joe's left.
Yeah, what is with that?
What is with that? Ever since Joe's left, maybe he's.
It's like the first weekend he's not here to get their first win in a year.
Yeah, he wasn't here for Monza, was he?
He was here for Monza.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, he was there for Monza.
He had a meltdown when they lost the lead.
And then today, very professional job done. I think Joe might be the problem. Interesting. People are reminding me that my team must win today. Don't worry about that, guys. That's future Matisse's problem.
This is very much F1 mode at the moment.
Yeah, many hours to go before I have to worry about such things. So,
it's the only thing I don't like about these races, because apart from football or that, you finish up at 8 o'clock and then you just sit there for the rest of the day like, what am I going to do now?
Pondering, yeah, your whole life. Well, we have what tracks are going to be in the evening? Brazil,
Mexico, Texas.
Yeah.
They're all pretty much even. Qatar is an evening race, should be about 6 o'clock.
Yeah. So we've got a few evening ones coming up. They're good times. The next early one is Vegas, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like 11 o'clock Saturday night over there.
And so over here it'll be 6 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand a night race, but why does it have to be 11 or 12 in the night time over
like
there?
At 8 o'clock or... But then again, what time would that put us over here? Would you rather do like a 2 a.m. or 1 a.m.? UK time?
Yeah, probably. Because I thinking from the social side of things, I stay up all night anyway, so it'd be earlier to bed for me.
Yeah. You wouldn't go to sleep, so you'd just be... That's fair enough.
Yeah, I think qualifying in Las Vegas is scheduled for 12 a.m. over there. There's going to be so many people drunk watching the race.
Yeah, that's going to be a party, that is. Literally. Okay, so... Is that the most DNF? No, it's not the most DNFs we've had this season in a race, but it's close.
I'd say it's close. I can't think of another race where there was so many DNFs, though.
Which race was it where there was so many DNFs or so many cars out?
Melbourne.
Was it Melbourne?
Remember they had like 3 red flags.
Yeah, I was trying to. I couldn't remember which one it was, but I just know there was a race where there was a whole heap, and I think only 12 cars finished or something like that.
Yeah.
Like two missed out on points.
Yeah.
Everybody else got something because there was just that many drivers out. So, yeah.
I remember the very first race with the hybrid engines in 2014 was Melbourne, and I think like 10 or 11 cars finished because of such a new engine. Literally half the grid broke down. It was so weird.
Do you wish that they had different tyre suppliers? So we had like say Stonebridge, and we had like a mixture.
There used to be a mixture, in Formula One.
Maybe it would make it even more interesting.
Yeah, well, that was the thing back then, because you had Ferrari and Bridgestones, and then you had everybody else in Michelins and things like this, and it was always like different kind of, almost like the cars themselves. The tyres were different.
Yeah.
There's always different strategies.
I think Stonebridge. I was thinking of the place.
I did wonder when you said it. I didn't want to say anything. I said, what?
I think it was Stonebridge Park. That's what came up to the came up first in my head. But yeah, no, it would be good to get different manufacturers because it just brings a lot more. That would completely make things unpredictable. Now we're like, okay, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
Because we've got different tyre strategies, different tyre types, and that just adds on another level of mayhem. I don't know, it would be great. That would be maybe a better suggestion than what I had previously, which was to have the fastest cars start at the back.
That day when you said that, I was just like, what is he on about?
For the traditionals, and I consider myself, to be fair, one of the ones that like to be traditional. I hate sprint races. Everybody knows that. Like, I don't like a lot of the new changes that they're doing to dramatize things. So even I wouldn't like what I said when I thought about it. Oh, I forgot to do one.
Oh.
And there's a double. Some Mercedes are doing it as well. 3 seconds. I forgot to commit to that.
What was Leclerc, 2.2?
Yeah, Leclerc was 2.2. Jesus. Damn. 2.8, you committed.
People in the chat are going to say this is on purpose now.
I need to make sure I commit on the next one. Oh dear.
I have two problems here.
Yeah.
When I take one of these, I'm going to need a drink.
Yeah.
If I take a drink, I'm going to need the bathroom.
Okay. Well. We'll let that play out how it plays out. Oh dear. I need to make sure I'm on the next one now. I think you owed me a pit stop anyway because you were still coughing from the last one.
That's right, yep, that's correct.
Bit of a wobbly McLaren. Oh, it's coming in. This will be my time now. So that McLaren is coming in, and it is Piastri. And I have not tried to be in the position of Coiler, so I need to make sure that I have got this one down to a T. Please tell me this is, give me a good angle at least. 2.8, it's never failed me. 2.6, never failed me. Never failed me, man. I'm actually getting close to actually getting these completely spot on.
You are, yeah.
And catching Richard. Was it Richard that was ahead, or was it Joe? I can't remember. Can't remember now. We stopped keeping track. We should have had a board from the beginning of the season, but mine are actually a lot closer than usual. I think the fear of having to do one of these has got me a lot closer to being on point.
I wish that would work for me.
Because I'm so scared of doing one of these that I'm actually really not playing around. Oh dear.
I'm going to make a note on camera production. I am not doing this again. This is,
It's really
I'm
bad.
I'm doing it like, what, 7 in the morning?
It's really bad.
Yeah.
I actually am shocked of how bad they are because I love sushi. And I like all different types of sushi as well. Like I don't have any issues with like fish or anything. So when I first tasted that and I felt my eyes steaming and my nose flaring, I said, what is going on here? Really?
I thought there was going to be smoke coming out of my
It's
mouth.
another one now. I have to do all of these because the people want me to be caught out. I've only done one. Try me, McLaren. 2.6, 2.4. Oh, I was trying to get a spot on. I went away from my. Do you know what? Because imagine now if I do a 2.8, it's a 2.2. So I'm like, nah. Gotta mix it up.
Just go 2.5. Then you can't go wrong.
Yeah. You're right. I wish you'd thought of that earlier.
This is where somebody comes in and does like a 6-second stop.
For your own benefit, I wish you'd thought of that strategy.
Yeah.
You have to go with 2.5s. Yeah, because no one's going to do quicker than a 2 at all. Like, that's not happening. And then on the other side, a 3. You should be able to see a 3.
Mm.
You can see what a 3 looks like, to be fair, so you know. Okay, so where does that leave us? Sainz still needing to pit. Russell needing to pit, I think. Or is he on a different strategy? No, he's on a different strategy. He stayed out longer, so is he just going to just finish the race?
He might try and go to the end, yeah.
Surely, if Russell doesn't go to the end, then I really don't know what they're doing. Verstappen is coming in now as well. Red Bull pit is always a good one. Surely not going to be caught out here. Let's see. Verstappen comes in. And this will be a very smooth 2.4, 2.6. Close.
Perez just sitting there, just chilling, just, you know.
Is he coming back out or not? Because I thought he was coming back out, but he's just chilling in there. I think that's like a damning indictment of the way the season's gone. That whole moment, that shot of Verstappen coming in, pitting, back out, on his way to the win, and Perez just sitting there just like... Honestly, that is a proper indication of the way the season has been going. Perez is just sitting there watching his teammate pull up in front of him
and disappear as quick again.
His tires and go back out to win the race while Perez is sitting there with a hot chocolate. Don't worry, you go and get the points again for the team for the constructors. I'll just sit here. I'm having a day off. I'll be back in the next race.
let me know when you want to put the kettle on.
Oh dear. Deary me. They're lucky that McLaren didn't start the season like this, because otherwise they would have been genuine contenders for constructors the way they're going.
Yeah.
If they could have had this consistency to be on podiums together as a unit.
And Perez is constant out of Q1.
Exactly, yeah. It would have been a good constructors if McLaren weren't collecting data for the first 3-4 races. So, Hamilton's on the fastest lap. Don't know what that really means with Verstappen going back out there on fresh tyres anyway, but we'll take it. 15 laps to go. That will be most people done their final stops now, I'd assume. Russell shouldn't really be doing another one. Where is he? 4th.
I'm quite surprised with Piastri and Norris. They mustn't have any tyres really left, but they came out in hards with so many or so little laps to go. Would you not go mediums or softs? Maybe they've none left though.
I think they did say they had two hards to use. Sainz is coming in, and he is going to do a 2.8 because that was a risky one. I can't take risks.
Oh, man.
Brilliant.
There you go.
There we go. Spot on. Surely that means I get to regurgitate what I had to eat. That 2.8 finally came through. It's very difficult to get an exact time. You get one a race if you're lucky, but I'll take that.
Watching Perez there in the car like this, he reminds me of children in those toy cars that you put the coin into.
Yeah.
He's just there pretending.
They're saying Perez is going to become a meme again in the comments. That meme should be on Twitter, really, by the end of the race. They should have that GIF ready to go. And keeping the tyres warm. I assume he is coming back out. They just don't want him out for that long because he is really only coming out to serve his penalty and go back in. So he doesn't have to take it to the next race. So I think he'll come out for maybe the last, I don't know, 10 laps max. Fastest lap, Verstappen. No danger of our podiums here at McLaren? Everything all good?
I'd imagine it's pretty secure unless we see a crazy 10 laps or so left. But
yeah, hopefully.
No, it's looking good for McLaren.
I love that livery.
Yeah, it's a nice livery.
I didn't fully appreciate it when I was there because I was in awe of the fact that it was Oscar there. But now that I've seen the livery, it's really good. And out comes Perez to rejoin this race. 30 laps down or whatever it is. I don't know.
Feels like they're just letting Perez out for the sake of it.
Can you imagine?
Just go on now, just drive.
Can you imagine if there was a pile-up, right? Everybody crashed. And Perez has now avoided that and he's leading the race. Well, he's not leading the race, but he has an opportunity to come back because everybody's DNF'd. So that would mean that he'd have to finish the race with Perez.
Well, the problem there then would be because he's so many laps down.
Yeah,
even if he crossed the finish line, he wouldn't be. No, he'd be still
get
laps
there in
down.
time.
No.
So what would happen then if he didn't get there in time, but everybody else DNF'd?
It was last person standing, I presume, yeah.
That situation will never happen, but I'm just intrigued to know what the rules are.
It almost happened once in Monaco. I think it was 96.
Okay.
It was like 22 cars on the grid, 4 finished.
4?
Yeah. Well, seven technically finished, but 4 were classified on the finishing order.
Oh my days.
Everybody crashed out, broke down.
In Monaco?
Monaco in the wet, yeah.
In the wet, okay.
Yeah, fair, it was chaotic.
Fair. Yeah, fair enough. Monaco in the wet is a joke.
I think it was Olivier Panis that won. He won from 14th. Who wins from 14th at Monaco?
Monaco in the wet is basically not worth watching because everybody's got to drive so slow and you can't overtake. It's basically just like watching a traffic jam in London. You may as well literally just
go outside.
You get more entertainment on the North Circular than you would, honestly, watching Monaco in the wet because no one's going to do anything.
It's like watching the cars on Seven Sisters Road.
Literally. Oh.
Perez, box. What was the point
What
of
is
that?
the strategy at Red Bull with Perez? Boxing already? 30 laps down? What is the plan?
You see what I mean on the timing here? It says Perez is still going, but he's still technically behind those that are out because they did more laps than him.
Yeah. Oh dear.
Imagine if before he comes in, he sets the fastest lap on soft tyres and takes it from Verstappen.
Do you know what? He should try to get a point. Because that's all he can get.
He won't get the point though, because he's outside the top 10.
Of course, yeah, of course.
But he could take it off.
They should take that rule away, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Because then you'd have like cars at the back pitting and trying to get a point, and it would be good. Sometimes they make rules, and I'm like, why? Why was that rule brought in? What was the point in that? I think if you had the back of the grid, are very rarely going to get it because they don't even have the quickest cars. But just in case, you never know, they might be able to get a point.
Could see a rare point for Logan Sargent or something.
It'll be nice for them to be able to come in and with 2 laps to go, everybody slams in. They're trying to get a point. It'd be good. Don't understand why don't understand these rules. Someone let me know in the chat why that rule exists. But
Russell just overtaken Piastri.
I don't like the sound of that, but I'm gonna just.
And Piastri's back in front of the Mercedes.
There we go. Well, I keep forgetting I'm a Mercedes fan, but I am wearing the top today, so I feel like I need to almost side with McLaren on this one. Okay. So Piastri.
He was attacking the Mercedes. I thought it was after Russell was after coming by him, and I was kind of like, what? He was already ahead of him.
Yeah. Well, he's on much fresher tyres to George as well, so he should be fine. First corner again, beautiful overtake. Everyone always has to go around the outside. Really happy for Oscar this year.
Yeah. He's a properly good driver.
Yeah. He made a good decision going to McLaren. Even at the time, Alpine had just come off of a very good season, so it wasn't really the clearest.
It wasn't a clear decision to make. Yeah.
But he got that one right. There he is.
What's the point?
Perez back in the paddock. He's had his little day out. I think Brad Pitt got more laps in than him, to be honest. It's ridiculous. Would have been more competitive than him as well. Oh my days. Keeping Checo in check is not going very well. Perez patrol. And he literally was patrolling there, just going around the track like a policeman.
The only person he kept in check was Kevin Magnussen when he ran into him.
Literally. Keeping Kevin in check. At this point, he's a safety car. Causing damage though. So Russell just ahead of Leclerc on those old tyres. I don't think he's going to be able to keep him behind for much longer. he is obviously doing the longest stint after really a very delayed first pit. They left him out there for a long, long time. Most will say too long. Maybe they were looking for a safety car as well. They're probably gambling on that, trying to push themselves up the grid, but it hasn't really. I mean, they're still in a. They'll probably still finish where they were, I think, by the end of all of this. Sainz.
Mercedes should look at maybe pitting Russell now, putting him on the softs for those last 10 laps, because he'd still have a little bit of time to make up positions he'd lose.
Yeah, but they have to call that now.
Yeah,
it's either
like it had to have been there.
Yeah, they either are bringing him in, which they're not, or they're leaving him out there to die. So they're leaving him out. But Leclerc should be trying to get him on this straight. I don't know if he...
Not close enough.
He won't. They'll just have to count on George defending. Putting in a defensive masterclass for this last.
Is this what Russell is doing, though? Is he trying to back Leclerc up to Hamilton?
Maybe. I mean, two things. He won't want to lose the place, and Hamilton's also there. So it's after fighting the whole day, those two, I think it's about time they started working together, to be honest. Piastri on team radio. As McLaren are back in their double podium spots. And I'm sure that will be how it is to the end of the race. Seen as Russell's backing up the rest of the grid now. And where is Hamilton? How far behind is he? There he is.
He's not too far behind.
Not too far behind. Leclerc will want to get this done before the second silver arrow finds his way in his rearview mirror, because this team game that Mercedes are trying to play to sandwich out the Ferrari. Obviously, Sainz is behind Hamilton. What happened with Sainz? Was he always... He wasn't behind Hamilton before.
No. This is interesting, because I didn't think Mercedes had the pace to challenge Ferrari, and that's exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Joe would be fuming right now if he was here. Oh dear. I think Leclerc should line this up to get this done on the next straight, but listen, the way that Mercedes just pulled away there, it might not be the case.
It seems to be working quite well out of the corners, that Mercedes.
Yeah. Oh.
Here he comes, though.
Here we go. No. Yes or no? That angle is not helpful.
He's got him.
He's got him.
Oh,
he's just about got him as well. Russell tried his best. He tried his best, but Leclerc has got past Russell there, so we'll be seeing the two Mercedes fighting again in a moment.
Can Leclerc catch
Hamilton
Piastri?
wasn't really catching up quick enough as well to keep Russell in that.
No.
Like when you take a look at those shots, Hamilton's way back on Russell still. He was never going to arrive on the scene quick enough. Ugh. Yeah, it was really good defending from George. But in the end,
I thought it shows there. I wanted to see did Russell push Leclerc out into the curb. It did look like it, but
on the exit.
Yeah, just there. Here. Yeah, here we go. Oh, he did.
Were all four tyres off? We're just seeing Verstappen again. Forgot about him. Leading this race, way out in front. And responding to what happened in Singapore last weekend. He was absolutely perplexed. Didn't know what was going on. Hasn't experienced such a race since Toro Rosso days, but he's back leading now. Had to really dig into his past to stomach that Singapore result. He was only at Toro Rosso for one season, wasn't he?
Max.
Yeah.
Season and a half.
Oh, okay.
He started 2016 with them, and then he moved to Red Bull.
Because he was just too good to be in that Toro Rosso. But that Toro Rosso, I remember it literally looked like a Red Bull. The livery as well.
Yeah. They were almost identical.
Yeah, I actually don't know how they got away with that.
And
you can barely tell them apart.
When Toro Rosso started the year after Red Bull in F1, they were essentially using Red Bull's car from last year.
Oh, okay.
But of course nobody complained because it was a year-old car, and they're never going to do much with it.
Of course. No one will complain if it's not competitive.
No.
It's only when it's a good car, it's like, hey, you can't do that.
When you have Racing Point copying Mercedes and things like this, that's when the trouble comes.
Oh dear. Racing Point, that was another. Oh, what a team. Pink car, wasn't it? Yeah.
The pink Mercedes.
Racing Point, we will not forget them.
I remember that season, they came out with that car and everybody just kind of like, hold on a minute, we've seen this somewhere before.
I remember all the drama, yeah. Everybody was actually onto Racing Point like crazy. Oh dear.
And what was funny was funny, you know, on social media you see the side-by-side pictures of Mercedes on the Racing Point, and it was identical apart from the colours on the car. I don't know how they got it so bang on.
Yeah. Crazy. Hamilton on team radio as well. He is now probably speaking to them about Russell moving out of his way. Just a guess. From following Hamilton all these years, I don't believe he's going to be saying anything other than move out of my way. Especially when he probably thinks he can still make... He's not really got time to catch Leclerc.
No, I don't think so.
In my opinion, but he probably will say that he can just to give himself some sort of...
a bit of his own personal pride here. He wants to continue his streak of finishing
he'll
in
be
the
saying
top 5.
Listen, science is catching up to me now. Get out of the way, like seriously, because otherwise we're gonna find ourselves in a situation where
look how much quicker he is though than Russell.
Both get overtaken. He's much quicker than Russell, but Sainz is
closing down on the boat.
And Hamilton was gaining time on Leclerc until Russell started to get in the way. So, but what is the safest place for Russell to let him go through without Sainz capitalising as well? It will be turn 1.
Yeah, that's the problem you have now. Yeah,
you can't really let him through any other point. So Hamilton will have to stay behind George until turn 1. Then he must take advantage.
Should be an easy move for Lewis down here.
And then Russell will need to get straight on the defence because Sainz is right behind. It's a brilliant 3-way battle we have here going into the first corner on the straight. Hamilton is not looking like he's going to catch that Mercedes, and he's going to remain behind Russell. And that's not good.
Be interesting to see now if Russell fights this, or will he let him by cleanly?
That's a good point they've made on commentary. So they're saying it's difficult to ask George to let Lewis go past because of the strategy they've chosen, the one stop. If they tell George to let Lewis go past, he's under serious threat from Sainz because of the fresher tyres that Sainz has got. Yeah. And they're the ones that put him on this strategy, so he's going to be even more annoyed because they've basically set him up to fail. Yeah. So the best chance Russell has of finishing ahead of Sainz is actually with Hamilton in between them. Hamilton taking the DRS and defending at the same time. Don't think Hamilton wants to hear that, but...
I don't know why they tried to one-stop at Russell anyway. You know, all weekend there's been talks of degradation and 2 stops or even 3 stops. I don't know why they thought they could get away with it, but...
It feels like whatever Mercedes do now, one of their drivers is going to be very annoyed. Yeah. If they don't let Hamilton get past Russell when he had time gaining on Leclerc and he's faster, he's going to be a very annoyed man. Yeah. And Russell, if they order him to move and then Lewis goes ahead and Sainz, he's gonna be talking about strategy at the end of the race. So kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah.
Just saying there that they think Russell was told by Mercedes to switch the cars, which is interesting. Yeah.
And I think the worst case scenario is Sainz getting ahead of both of them.
Russell wants to do it on the last lap.
He wants to let Lewis by on the last lap. Yeah. That's a very fair, nice thing to say. What? But I don't think
Lewis is gone.
Really cares. So Lewis is gone. Right, there we are. So Lewis has just gone ahead of Russell. And now Russell will be on the ultimate defence, which he's got used to doing in the last few laps anyway, defending. But look at the gap already between Lewis and Russell. He was really holding him back. Jesus, he was really holding him back. Defend for your life, George.
I don't think he can hold on to this.
You don't think so?
No. I know there's only 4 laps to go, but Sainz will have him. Yeah.
Lewis was never going to catch Leclerc actually with them laps to go. So he would have had to be making a second a lap. What was he making? Did you remember what he was gaining on Leclerc?
I don't remember, no.
Probably just temps.
Here comes Carlos.
Come on, George. I don't think, what is it, 4 laps, you said? So, yeah, tough. Turn 1, 4 times. Those tyres, hard braking into turn 2, good luck. You're going to need it. Hamilton on team radio.
Close Sainz is getting even without DRS.
Oh, so I think Hamilton might play the team game and back up, because he could have gone down the road. He's definitely slowed down, I think. I think Hamilton should be further
He's going
ahead.
to be giving Russell DRS.
Yeah, I think so. And that needs to be done.
No,
it's
not
too
enough.
late. That needed to be done earlier. If they were going to do that, they needed to think of that idea a lot earlier.
They were trying to do a science on science.
That's what science did for Lando last week. They did not think that through, maybe at Mercedes, to have Lewis just ahead of George, which he could have easily done because he is the quicker car. Couldn't manage that, giving George the DRS to hold him through the last 4 laps. I think by the time they decided that was probably the play, it was too late, because Lewis was backing up a little bit, but yeah, that's
it.
I think that would have worked as well, because it's really just that straight.
Yeah.
Once you get through that straight going into turn 1, if you can get through there,
you can hold them anywhere
you can
else,
hold
really,
them.
you
Yeah,
know?
I think you can hold them the rest of the way through. So yeah, I think they didn't really think that one through. Because now Sainz is going to try and attack Lewis.
Yeah.
So it's like Sainz was going to be there anyway.
I'm not entirely sure he's going to be able to get him though.
No, I don't think he will. But the fact that he's behind him just shows you may as well have had a car in between. Let's see. That's Russell's race over now. The AlphaTauris, where are they? Gasly in points. Liam Lawson. Is that Liam Lawson 11th?
Lawson 11th, another 12th.
Just outside. Oh, that's a shame. Both AlphaTauris just outside the points.
But a good recovery for both Alpines in the points.
Yes. Big recovery from both the Alpines in the points for Gasly and Ocon. So there's a 4-way fight there at the moment. No sharing taking place. Hamilton, look at how much time is gained. Is that Sainz catching him?
Sainz catching him, yeah. That's the time going down.
Wow. Under a second.
This is good news for Carlos because you have DRS coming around the straight.
Wow. Wow.
Look how much faster he even seems to be in a straight line. He's catching him rapidly.
Sainz is really catching Lewis. This will be probably the most entertaining end between these two, fighting for that 5th spot. Podiums are sorted. Leclerc sorted. 5th spot undecided. Under a second gap between Lewis and Sainz after he went past George.
Yeah, I didn't think Mercedes would have the pace to hold off Ferrari today, but is it too late for Sainz to catch him? Maybe, but he seems to be catching him quite quickly.
By the next lap, he should be right behind him.
Yeah. He should be able to get him down straight in the final lap.
So Lewis is going to have to defend. Seriously get his elbows out here on that next lap. I think that's his last lap of freedom from Sainz. Great race for McLaren. It is a great race for McLaren. Double podium, it seems.
See, a double podium for them was worth the pain of the Wasabi. See, a double podium for them was worth the pain of the Wasabi. I can feel that in my stomach still.
Someone saying, I hate seeing Lewis fighting for average places. Yeah. So do I, but hey.
Do you think he can win an 8th title next year, or whenever, if the car is right?
Won't be next year. W15, what have you got in store? I think next year is all about getting back to being competitive, trying to win a race. Start with that.
Yeah.
W16 I'll be looking at as the car, but yeah, I don't know. They need to, if anything, the FIA will probably give us the biggest upgrade, which is maybe changes to the rules and regulations, and maybe Red Bull will be brought down a peg, and that's where Mercedes need to be one of the, if not the,
take advantage of
take
it,
the first car to
than,
take advantage of that. If they don't take advantage of that next rule change, I think Hamilton will not be getting that 8th, because he won't be going anywhere else to get it. Now that McLaren have shown that their drivers are committed, so I was hoping for a kind of full circle. Maybe he'd go back to McLaren. They've got a quick car now. Maybe, you know, he could get his 8th there. That would be a fairy tale kind of ending, but I don't think that's on the cards. So unless one of them ended up going to Red Bull to replace Perez in a couple of years, then there could be a seat open.
Yeah,
which would be insane.
They're quite keen on looking at Norris.
Yeah, I've heard Lando to Red Bull a few times, like rumours, but I don't know how serious it was. But if that happened and then the seat opened up for Lewis and McLaren were the big challengers, then I'd love to see that for the 8th. But yeah, Red Bull celebrating in the garage.
I think we need confirmation after this. Yes, they have won the Constructors' Championship now, Red Bull. They're Constructors' Champions this year.
There you are.
With that result.
And drivers?
Drivers, I think it's still slightly go on. I think they were saying next week, maybe Qatar.
Yeah.
Verstappen can seal it, but Red Bull are Constructors' Champions this year, officially.
There we are.
Well done to everyone at Red Bull.
Winning Constructors with Perez in the garage.
I wonder is he still sitting in the car?
Just goes to show, really was a max job this year.
Hamilton holds off Sainz.
Yeah, well done. Split the Ferraris there. So that's what all the celebrating was in the garage. Big bonuses for the team. Everybody's like, yes.
I'd love to see what their Christmas bonus is like.
Their Christmas bonus will be hefty, I'm sure. For all the work they put in away from their families, travelling around. Sure, not the worst job in the world, but certainly a
tiresome one.
Tiresome, draining job for sure. Pressure. That boy Max deserves the very best, and he demands it.
I seen on the graphic there, that's his 47th career win, which it scares me a little bit because I remember his first, you know.
Yeah.
And I can remember most of them since, and to think it's 47
He will
wins
hit
now.
100 wins.
Oh, he will, yeah.
Yeah, he'll hit 100 wins, for sure.
Depends on how long he keeps going for. He's always talking about, I don't want to go forever.
Yeah. I don't think he'll do Alonso years or anything.
No.
I think he might get to mid-30s max and call it a day there. But if he does that, you know, he'll be just fine with the amount of wins he'll clock up if he keeps a strong car. So
he's already beaten most champions anyway. So in terms of race wins,
it'll set a serious legacy.
An incredible job for McLaren. Second for Norris, third for Piastri.
Brilliant for McLaren. Someone said, why the Red Bull engineers jumping like they didn't know they would win? You got to make it look...
It was such a hard-fought battle all year, you know.
Look realistic, guys. You know, even if you know you're going to win, sometimes you need to fake it. Fake it till you make it. But yeah, McLaren double podium. That's fantastic, honestly. Can't wait to see their post-race interviews. Hopefully Zach Brown says something as well. Good day for Ferrari, I think, considering the fact that not usually, because recently they've been better, but over the course of the season, they've had their mares as always. So recently, very much back on track and
good points for them.
Good points and solid performances, no mistakes, no issues. So whenever that happens at Ferrari, that's always a step in the right direction. I think biggest disappointment of the day?
Biggest disappointment was probably, I'd say, Alex Albon, because I pipped him and Williams for points, but it just, well, not, I suppose Albon or Perez, the fact that he spent 30 laps sitting in his car in the garage. But I can't
he
say
served his penalty, didn't he?
I think he did it, yeah. I think he just literally served it and then came back in.
Yeah, he served his penalty, so I guess in the end that was all that mattered. So it didn't hamper his next race, but so many DNFs today, and I don't know half of them why.
Yeah. Guessing
they're all technical faults, but especially at Williams, but I have no idea what's going on over there.
The likes of Perez was contact, and then the likes of Bottas, he obviously into other people a few times, so lingering damage. And the likes of Albon,
there was a few collisions,
contact,
and
the beginning,
yeah, true.
Yeah.
It's a good race. It had everything, to be fair.
Yeah, it was good.
Apart from at the front, obviously, for Verstappen, but it had everything.
Some good moves, some good overtakes.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what McLaren can do, especially going into next year.
Same.
They can keep this up.
That's the team where I'm really, really hoping that they kick on.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sold a dream because all I need McLaren to do next season really is just challenge Red Bull for race wins. I'll take that. If Red Bull win another constructors and they win another drivers, like that's expected.
Yeah.
But if McLaren can challenge them legitimately for race wins and they can be consistent, and say 1 in 3 races they're legitimately taking some serious points off them and potentially winning, then I'll take that.
Yeah, for sure. And be great
where
to see
they've
them
come
back.
from, I wouldn't expect them to be in a title race.
Yeah.
Immediately, but you never know.
It's great to see them back up there. For years they were always one of those top teams. One of the main teams.
Yeah.
They lost their way a bit in the last few years, but it's good to see them coming back.
100%. Yeah, I hope they keep this up.
Yeah.
Puts a lot of pressure on Ferrari and Mercedes next year as well to step up now. Because McLaren has certainly overtaken those two in the back end of this season. But there you go, guys. Listen, we're going to wrap it. It's been an early one. Verstappen wins again. He's back on top after what happened in Singapore. And of course, Red Bull as well, constructors, champions as well, and offshore drivers champion. Well, driver, we know exactly who's going to win that. That'll be confirmed very soon, I'm sure, in the next race or two. And obviously 2 McLarens on the podium as well. So strong finish for them. Lots of DNFs. I don't know what was going on. If
lots
in the
of first lap
some
contact.
sort of free biscuits and tea going or something, and everybody's piling up to try and get some. I don't know what's going on. But Coylin, thank you very much for joining me.
No worries.
Everyone was afraid of the 5:30 start, but not you. So listen, next time Las Vegas, I'll be docking points for who does it. I'll be Sam. We want to see Joe, Rich. I'll call out everyone. No, Rich will probably be there.
No holidays, no excuses. In here, 5 a.m. I don't care.
Everybody be here. So there you go, guys. Make sure you smash up the likes. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. In a bit, people. Peace.